take a seat. We're going to have the benediction by Reverend J.J. Whitney, Hendrix College class of 96.
Would you pray with me? Gracious God, we are certainly proud of the achievements of those who are being honored today, not only because of athletic performances, but because of their dedication to the classroom and to the community. For the countless hours they put into practicing and preparing, traveling and building relationships, we thank you for their sacrificial spirit in being Hendrix warriors. May we also have a spirit of gratitude for folks who've encouraged them along the way, for mentors from the past, for families and friends who supported them from the sidelines. We especially set apart this time to lift up grateful hearts for the relationships that have been built between coaches and athletes and teammates as they have taken this journey together. We give thanks for those who dedicate their lives to the Hendrix athletic program, and we are proud of the people of integrity and character that they are. As we continue this table of fellowship, bless, O Lord, the bounty we have been given and the hands who have prepared and now serve our meal. Continue to be with us in this celebration and inspire all of us to make progress toward our own goals. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Again, I'm Tim Lomax. I'm proud to be here as the Master of Ceremonies. My first job, number one, is to make sure that that we recognize the inductees. My second job is to make sure that President Bill Schewee gets to say a few words. And I know it's going to be difficult for him. He's a man of few thousands of words. Bill, could you come up and give us a welcome?
Thank you so much, Tim. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is a real pleasure to have you here today. First of all, a big thank you to all of you being with us here at Hendrix this morning. For the members of the Booster Club and our college staff who worked so hard to organize and stage this event today, and especially to Vance Strange. Where's Vance hiding? There he is, back there. It is a pleasure to be here with you, sharing a meal, honoring some greats in the history of sport at Hendrix, and celebrating the heritage as well as the current successes of athletics here at the college. The Warriors have a whole lot to be proud of, past, present, and future, and it's a joyful day when we can get together to remember, to take stock, to look ahead, and hopefully y'all will join us across the road actually cheering on the teams. In fact, I'm going to run from here when the events are over to get to volleyball because I am excited to see that match today. Let me also offer my thanks and congratulations to all who are being inducted today. You are part of a rich and proud legacy in Hendrix athletics, a legacy of excellence, of character, of high standards and expectations, and of dedication to the ideal of educating the whole person. That is at the very core of all we do here at the college. You and your predecessors in the Hall of Honor, who we are also pleased to remember here today, and in some cases welcome here today as well, you have all exemplified what Hendrix College stands for. Good people, smart people, accomplished people, people of character, athletically, professionally, and personally. You have set a very high bar for all those who have followed you wearing the orange and the black, and thank you so much for doing that. Your example inspires us and challenges us all in the best possible way. As you enter the Hall of Honor, you will no doubt get a lovely plaque to hang on your wall. We'll offer a few words about your achievements, but I hope you will remember that your most important legacy is not a framed certificate. Your legacy is a living one, still felt in the pool and on the track, on the court, the course, and the field, on the diamond and in the stadium, still real, still very immediate for our hundreds of student athletes, our dozens of coaches, trainers, and support staff, and the many thousands of students, alums, parents, faculty, and sports fans who attend Hendrix athletics events every year. And let me assure you, anyone who has spent a lot of time back on campus in recent years will tell you athletics is absolutely flourishing at Hendrix. Every year so far, I've made it to a game, meet, or practice in each of our 21 sports. And this year, of course, we are thrilled to add our 22nd, beach volleyball, to my calendar as well. As you all know, I have done silly things and wonderful things to support our teams over the years. I face painted in orange and black for volleyball at the conference championship a few years back, and hope I have that opportunity again this year. I dressed as Ivan in a very itchy wig for a pair of basketball games. I've stayed up late waiting for buses to get back to Conway so I could be part of the crowds cheering our squads coming home, both from victories and from disappointments. And I could not be more proud to wear the rings that our teams have awarded me. As I told the football team at the start of this year, I have 6 championship rings after 4 years at Hendrix, which means I still have a few digits left. And I have already informed my wife that when championship ring number 10 comes along, unfortunately the wedding band is going to have to come off. We could not be more fortunate in having the athletic director that we do. Amy Weaver is a true gem for our campus. We could not have coaches any more committed to their students and to the mission of the college. We could not have a more supportive booster club, parents, student body, and alums. And of course, we could not have better young people representing Hendrix in intercollegiate athletics. They always give 110% on the field, in class, and as members of our campus community. All of these people, every day, are doing the traditions of Hendrix sports and the legacy of our Hall of Honors members proud. Thanks to you all, and congratulations to our newest inductees.
Thank you very much, Bill. Bill mentioned the past honorees. I understand there are some past inductees in the room. Could they stand, please, and be recognized? So, to begin, we have the induction of Lucile Womack Bates. Lucile and her family are not able to be here. I have it on good authority that remarkable, as the bio in here really describes Lucile. Her dedication to the college is exemplified not just on the court, but in the classroom. She played at a time when we don't have video, unfortunately, so there'll be no video of her playing, 1925. The basketball program, she won 4 letters on the court. She led Hendrix to a amateur athletic union state championship. She also excelled in track and field at the meet held at the College of Ozarks in Clarksville. She won the baseball throw, the high jump, and was on the winning shuttle relay and 440-yard relay teams. I believe Vance is going to come up and accept the award for Ms. Bates, but again, a legend from a long time ago, and I think we certainly are happy and proud to have her as an inductee. So. So here.
You know, in contacting the Womack Bates family, it was very interesting. Some of them live in Ohio, some of them live in West Tennessee. But the most important thing that Richard Womack Bates, told me from Ohio was that Lucile has a sister that's still living in Tennessee. And when I talked to him on the phone, I said, well, that's really something. I said, 1925 graduate, still has a sister living. He said, and she just turned 100 years old 2 weeks ago. And then I said, well, that is unbelievable. He said, no, the unbelievable part is she swims every day. So thank you. On behalf of them, we will send this plaque to Richard and family, and then they'll be able to share all of this. So thank you all so much on behalf of Lucile Womack.
Our next honoree, Ray Harris, is also not able to be with us, but Hunter is going to come up and accept the award. He was one of Coach Ivan Grove's players, the legendary Ivan Grove. He played football in both offense and defense. His teammates compiled a record of 18 wins, 16 losses, and 1 tie, including 3 straight shutout victories over Arkansas State University, including a 51-0 win in 1937. Coach Grove called on Ray Harris to captain the football team in 1939 and 1940, and he was also elected captain of the 1940-41 basketball team. During his time playing at basketball at Hendrix, we had a 37-30 record. He averaged 7.5 points a game. Lettered in 2 sports all 4 years at Hendrix College. Again, this great balance of both being great in the classroom and being great on the field. He was a first-team selection for 4 years to the Arkansas Intercollegiate Conference in both sports, a recognition that few have achieved. So I'd like to call on Hunter to come up for the family and say a few words about Ray Harris, inductee.
On behalf of the Harris family, just want to thank you for this great honor. He told a lot of tall tales and wild stories of his times here, but it's been a big part of the Harris family. So thank you.
All right, absolutely. Thank you very much. Our next honoree is going to be introduced by Coach Cliff Garrison. This is Kenny Johnson, class of '66. I don't believe number 10 is Mr. Johnson's first name. It just turns out to be that way. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Tim. It's my pleasure to introduce Kenny this morning. Kenny was recruited as a point guard by Warrior coach Lawrence Mobley, and he came out of Jonesboro High School, which is still a tradition hotbed in northeast Arkansas and one of the great high school programs in the state of Arkansas. He was all-district and all-state there. His senior year, he and 2017 Hall of Honor inductee Joe Murphy led the Hurricane to a state tournament championship, and Kenny was named the most valuable player. The AIC, the Arkansas Intercollegiate Conference, was a great conference and highly competitive league. Coach Jack Holly, who used to coach at what's now the University of the Ozarks, described it as a guard and hamburger league. He said you're going to have great guards and you're going to eat a hamburger after the game. And Kenny was one of the best guards to come out of the conference. He was a great floor leader for the Warriors, had an uncanny vision for great court awareness and a great passer. Some of the headlines from the '63 season included Warrior winning streak stuns AIC. Hendrix round ball history made. Deadly defense, which Coach Mobley was the coach then, and then Coach Hutto. He played for both of those Warrior coaches. Two different styles, Coach Hutto and Coach Mobley. Coach Mobley was really a defensive coach, ball control coach, and Coach Hutto liked to run the ball a little bit more, but we're both great coaches. Deadly defense and cheering crowds lead to February feats for Warriors. Kenny ended his career with 740 points and played in a record 102 straight games. His leadership was highlighted by his sophomore year, where he was instrumental in leading the Warriors to a second-place finish in the AIC tournament. He was honorable mention All-AIC 2 years, and as Warrior team captain in 1966, he earned All-AIC honors and ended his collegiate career with his final game day dedicated as Kenny Johnson Day. Now, Kenny, I don't know of another player that's had that designation since I came in 1972, so that's quite an honor. To my knowledge, there hasn't been another Warrior so honored to have the day named after him. He also lettered in golf, and he said he graduated from Hendrix in 1966 despite having Steve Strange as a roommate. He received his law degree from the University of Arkansas Law School in 1969 and began his law practice in Pine Bluff and then to Dumas with the Gill and Johnson Law Firm. He was a city attorney for Dumas for 14 years, served a brief period as the DeShay County juvenile judge. He served on the State Board of Law Examiners for 6 years, including 1 year as chairman. He was elected to circuit judge in 2008 and from 2014 to the present. Kenny was also appointed by the Supreme Court to the State Child Support Committee. Please join me in welcoming Warrior number 10, Kenny Johnson, into the Hendrix College Sports Hall of Honor.
Well, thank you for honoring me with this award. I'm not sure I'm deserving. I look around the room and I see guys like David Kossover who can really play basketball, and so I'm somewhat humbled by this. I have to tell you about my friend Steve Strange over there. My grandmother told me a long time ago. She kind of raised us. My father was killed early on in World War II. And she said, be careful what you wish for. And so I came to Hendrix, and I would say the first week here, Coach Mobley had this exhibition game to introduce the new freshmen to the student body, and then the whole team. And we scrimmaged in front of the student body. And it was the old gymnasium, and it was pretty well packed. And I kept hearing this foghorn voice. I mean, it was standing out above the whole student body. And he was on me. Every time I would make a move, he would hoot and holler at me. And when I got through with the game, I thought, I'm going to find this fella. And I kept asking around, and it all came back to kept saying Steve. And so I started looking for Steve, and I found Steve, and we had a talk, and as a result of that talk, we became best friends forever. He became my roommate for the last 3 years, and truly that was, and how that came up about Steve, one of the questions on this informational sheet that was sent to me was, what academic honors did you achieve while at Hendrix? And I looked at that question for a long time, and I thought, this must be designed for my brother. My brother graduated from Hendrix. He was 2 years behind me. He was a Fulbright scholar and from Hendrix. And thought they got the wrong man. But then I thought for a minute, wait a minute, I graduated in 4 years, and I had that for my roommate. And I thought that was my only academic honor. But I do thank you. I want to introduce my family over here. My wife Robin's sitting right here. My son Steve Johnson, and my daughters Katie and Mandy are over there. And I appreciate them being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I should have done that also with the first Hunter. You and your family, could you all stand up and be recognized? We know that none of this happens individually, so you could give Ray Harris's family. Thank you all very much. Our next honoree is Erin McKenzie Kraner. Kraner? I'm sorry, Erin McKenzie Kraner. My bad. And I believe we have a video that we're going to play from Coach Winkleman.
It's a great privilege to be here tonight with you via video from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And Erin, congratulations. It's quite an honor just to share briefly a few things about you and our time together at Hendrix. I thought about using this. If what you did yesterday is still big today, then you have not done anything big today. We used to use that one a lot. I'm sure you remember. But tomorrow, when you begin your day, being inducted into the Hall of Honor at Hendrix College can still be big to you. This one time, for sure. Wanted to share some numbers. Erin McKenzie, as I knew you, I know your name has changed, but by the numbers, 2002 to 2006. 1,147 points, 690 rebounds, and 406 blocks. In one season, you had 121 blocks, and your 13 blocks versus the University of Dallas on February 19, 2003 was the fifth highest in single game, or I think might still be the fifth highest in a single game in the history of NCAA Division III basketball. I don't think there are too many young women who have played this game at any level that have a combination of almost 1,200 points, 700 rebounds, and over 400 blocks. Amazing career. You were SCAC Newcomer of the Year in 2002, 2003. And I'll give you a quick history lesson for you and for others there in attendance tonight. I don't know if you remember this, but Trinity University under Becky Geyer won the national championship in 2002, 2003, your freshman year. And a lot of times these numbers that we share, they're all relative to your competition. And I want you to remember and just recall that during your career, it was one of the heydays of the SCAC, the SCAC. I know that conference has changed some. But you were doing this against some very, very high caliber players in the conference at its time. In fact, 1 year after you graduated, DePaul University, which was a member of the SCAC at that time, won the 2006-07 national championship. Trinity actually ended our season your freshman year, but I know we all enjoyed beating Rhodes on their floor in the quarterfinals. So I think, again, we needed to be brief. I know we've on a timeline at the event. So real quickly, to wrap this up, I wanted to think about, just speak to you as a person besides these numbers, because our relationships with our student athletes are far more important than any of these wins and losses and all these numbers. I just, as I think about you, I think about grace, and competitive greatness, and it's a rare combination that you have as a person, that you had there as a student athlete. So congrats, it's well deserved. It was a privilege to coach you those 2 years, and God bless you and your family always. Take care.
(2006) Hendrix graduate Erin McKenzie Kraner. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this incredible honor. I had to write something, otherwise, Lord knows what I would get up here and say. I can't even begin to tell you how much this recognition truly means to me, and I'm deeply grateful for all of the individuals that had a hand in making my story possible and being a part of it. When my roommate, teammate, and partner in crime, Casey Smith, now Sellers, called me to let me know that this would all be happening, all of these amazing memories came flooding back. Memories of elation and heartbreak, anticipation and defeat, camaraderie and compassion, determination and adversity, so many things. Each of these memories ties in incredible life lessons that have molded and shaped me into the person that I am today. And growing up in a world of sports, coaches, demands, teammates, challenges, setbacks, and moments of pushing yourself to the absolute limits, these have all prepared me for the many twists and turns that life puts in your wake. These are what I consider the gifts that competitive sports has given me. The first of these gifts is respect. For many years leading up to my tenure at Hendrix, I had coaches placed in my life, namely Coach Preston Early at my alma mater, Rogers High School, who challenged, pushed, empowered, disciplined, guided, and believed in me in ways that I could never imagine, and taught me that what it means to respect the adults in my life who have my best interest at heart. To respect authority, have reverence for those who come before us, and to acknowledge that we can always learn from others. While at Hendrix, I had the incredible opportunity to play for a couple of other coaches, and one of those you just heard from, Coach Chuck Winkleman. He taught me humility, that each of us have strengths and limitations requiring us to push our limits and to rely on our team to make us better. Teamwork, that we are truly better and more successful when we work together. And integrity, that at the end of the day, our words have power, they matter, and the legacy of our actions will have an impact that lives on longer and past all of our sweat and tears on that gym floor. In addition to respect, the second gift I've been given through sports is resilience, the ability to overcome adversity. Life is hard. There are ups and downs, highs and lows, and sometimes it feels like our losses outweigh our successes. But character is defined in the losses, not in the wins. Sports has taught me that. It's taught me that I have to have the power to see the hard times through, to overcome them, make changes, and grow and develop who I am, and that I'm in control of my own story and no one else can do this for me. I am at the helm of the journey that I'm on. My hands are at the wheel and my destiny's up to me. The last of these gifts, which is the most rewarding and tangible gift I get to experience each and every day, is the gift of teamwork. This is an invaluable understanding that oftentimes does not come natural for a lot of people, and in the workplace is arguably the most critical quality sought after in an employee. Patrick Lencioni states that someone who has equal parts humility, hunger, and smarts embodies an ideal team player, which is the most essential aspect of defining the success of a business or an organization. Teaching those three elements is the critical role that sports plays. In addition to teamwork in the workplace, and arguably the most important aspect of my life where team is most critical, is at home, in my marriage to my incredible husband, Will. Many of you may not know, but alongside my amazing parents, and I'll get to them in a minute, he traveled many miles over the road to every game in high school and in college. was my teammate from the very beginning and has supported me through every endeavor. No one has cheered me on harder, picked me up in dark times, or challenged me to be a better person than him. He's my high school sweetheart, my best friend, and my teammate in life, and to him, I owe it all. And my parents, Bobby and Teresa McKenzie. Where do I even start? My parents have devoted their entire lives to giving me everything I could possibly want, let alone need. And that has not gone unnoticed. I'm their only child, and they may not have had all the money, the resources, the time, the knowledge, talents, whatever the case may be, but I never knew that because to me, my parents could do anything, be anything, and give everything, and they did. My parents have never missed a game in my entire lifetime, and I hope to be half of the parents that they are to my children. Because to me, my parents are perfect, and they're the reason why I'm standing in front of you here today for this honor. And lastly, thank you to my babies, Stella, who's 7, and Jace, who's 4. They make me a better person and teach me so much about life each and every day. And best of all, they've made me a mom, which is the best job anybody could ever ask for. So I'm thankful, I'm humbled, I'm truly incredibly grateful. Thank you for this amazing honor. It will be tucked in my heart forever.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Erin.
Thank you.
Our next honoree is J.D. Pritchard, class of '04, and I think we also have a video. Oh, sorry. Yes, sir. Come on up. Thank you very much.
Do you have a video?
I don't believe
That's, that, we don't want that thing.
I think I got
If there's no real action,
No, you're the star.
I am, okay, y'all would rather have an opportunity to see JD play tennis. I can assure you that. I'll tell you, we need to give a lot of thanks. We mentioned David Kossover, but one reason that we had so much success with JD in our presence was because David Kossover was his coach in Fayetteville. And he laid just a wonderful foundation, and David, we're grateful. I know JD will probably thank you as well. But all that JD did for us was he came as the #1 player in the state of Arkansas. And he came honored by the Arkansas Tennis Association. He did everything that we could ask of a junior. He did the same thing for Arkansas tennis that he did for Hendrix. And that was he played his heart out. He won a lot of matches. He always did it with grace and distinction. And he was a gentleman. Every time I ever saw him win or lose, he was a gentleman. So I want to tell you that, first of all, JD is the winningest tennis player we've ever had so far. At least I can speak for the last 21 years. But he won 66 singles matches and 52 doubles matches. And every time he stepped on the court, he was facing the other team's very best that they had to offer. He had to beat some international players. He had to fight hard to get some of them, but he won by far the bulk of them. I think your winning percentage in singles was 83%, as I recall. And that's not too bad. He was honored by Hendrix, by the way, but one of our highest awards with the Carl Babcock. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to say a little bit more about more than just your skills. I mentioned the way that you represented us as far as your sportsmanship, but we're all, I think, those of us in tennis, we have grown very proud of the kind of people that are representing our sport these days, the people like Roger Federer. And thank goodness we don't have as many McEnroes and Connors as we used to. But you are much more of a Federer-type player. And I'm going to speak to your skills because you're outstanding ground strokes. Thanks again, David. your great court coverage, a very, very adequate serve, to say the least. But I think more than anything else, just the willingness to get on the court and fight till the very end. You put everything you had into every match, and I have just learned to respect you a great deal. I remember decisions you made. You never forgot why you came. You came to enjoy the tennis at Hendrix. You also came to get yourself ready to be a doctor. And you've done all of it, and you've done it in a way that we can all be proud of. So I'd like to welcome Dr. J.D. Pritchard up here, who is a major in the United States Army Medical Corps. And that's just what he does is pretty fascinating. We can't talk about that. It's very involved in a lot of bad accidents, but he's their pathologist at the hospital at Fort Benning, Georgia. And I respect you and your family, all you've done to serve our country, and I'm just proud to be your coach.
Thank you, Harold, for that introduction. And I'd also like to thank Hendrix and the Booster Club for this honor and organizing this event. I would like to thank my family and mentors that are here with me today, supporting me. To begin with, my mom and dad, Doug and Barbara Prichard. Everyone at these tables is largely responsible for me receiving this award. But again, starting with my mom and dad, they started me playing tennis at a young age so that I would have a sport to play for a lifetime. Their plan has worked well as I still play competitively and on a regular basis. They have spent countless hours driving me to tournaments, lessons, and practice. They were proud when I won, but what's most important to them was that I was a good sport on the court. And this fact has stuck with me throughout the years. I didn't show a whole lot of potential when I first started playing tennis, but that began to change when my parents brought me to David Kossover to start taking lessons. David was always quick with a joke and full of humor. For me, David was a master of both strategy and developing the strokes necessary to win. David helped develop my game as well as numerous other junior players in Arkansas. And his contribution to Arkansas tennis is evidenced by his recent induction to the Arkansas Tennis Hall of Fame. Also present in developing my tennis game at a young age was my brother Jim. Jim took the time to practice with me using a special drill he developed called reaction overheads. This drill is simple and consisted of him hitting overheads and me trying to avoid getting hit. There's about almost a decade difference between us, by the way. But on a serious note, as I look back, my older brother has always tried to help me approach competition like he does, with a confident and positive attitude. When the time came to go to college, I began receiving calls and sometimes visits at tournament matches from another role model who would be with me for the next 4 years. Coach Henderson was a pillar of strength for me and my teammates during my years at Hendrix. He always put our academic and personal well-being ahead of any academic endeavor. But at the same time, I don't think my winning percentage hurt his feelings too bad. I would also like to thank Hendrix Academics for the academic foundation they provided me, which has helped me to succeed in medical school and beyond. I humbly accept this award and thank Hendrix for their acknowledgement of my contributions to the college. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Our next honoree is class of 2001, Billy Schooi, and I believe we have Coach Jim Holland here to give an introduction.
went to Grand Prairie, Texas in 1997 to see Billy play. And we needed a shortstop. Our shortstop had graduated the year before and batted .389. So we were in really need, a real need. And, you know, it was just a typical trip. Met Bill and Cheryl, and I knew come from a good family. Saw Billy play, and I thought, I think Billy's going to be able to help us. He had some other, some things in his mind that he might go somewhere else, but he didn't. He came to Hendrix, thank goodness, and he did what he was supposed to do. He was a good student. He was a joy to be around. He was a joy to coach. Freshman year, he batted .311. I thought, they're going to be all right. And we had a pretty good team on the next year, his sophomore year. And for some reason, I think we were talking about it over here, I think Billy started lifting weights. And he got in pretty good condition, and he got stronger, and he started setting records. Now, if you have your little program with you, you can turn to the middle, and you can see that those are pretty astounding baseball statistics that he has. The program is about 26 years old now, and Billy is in the top 10 of every hitting statistic that we keep. He's just an outstanding person. You can read to see what he's accomplished since he's left Hendrix, but I can tell you that he was a joy to coach. We had a little get-together last night with some of his teammates, and some of the things that they said, might not want to mention in here, but he was a joy for all of his teammates to be around. He was just a great teammate. He was about as even-keeled as you could get, and that's good for baseball. You don't need to be up and down. And I enjoyed working with him, and he had about as fantastic a career as you could have in baseball. I'm glad he came here. I think he's glad he came here, because when he came, he also met the love of his life, Joy Stabile. Joy was, you saw where Billy was the Carl Babcock Award winner. Well, his future wife at the time, she was the Carl Babcock winner also, and played tennis, Denny Harrell. And she's, they have a great family. They got Will stand up, and Sam stand up over there. That's a super family. Billy, this has been a long time coming and way overdue. Would you please come up and be inducted? You don't read these statistics.
Thank you, Coach Holland, for those kind words, some of which were true. I appreciate that. I want to spend my time, if it's all right with you guys, just in gratitude. Baseball is a team sport. Life is a team sport, too. It takes a lot of people to work together for something like this to happen. And so, Jim and Don, thank you very much for being here. Coach Holland, thank you for your leadership as a coach and for waving me home when I was rounding third more times than not. It's fun to score runs. I appreciate that. Ryan, thank you very much for being such a good friend for so many years. You got a lot going on this weekend, and it means a lot that you and Allie are here. Thank you. Bo and Shannon and Graham and Hayes, thank you very much to your family from our family for the love and support that you've given all of us for so long. Thank you very much. Jenny and Corey and Noah and Elle and Piper, it takes a lot of sacrifice to give up a weekend to be here for this, for people to drone on about your brother-in-law. And so I appreciate it very much that you're here. Carolyn, thank you very much for the love and support that you've given Joey and me and our boys in so many ways for so long. It means a lot that you're here. Joe and Suzanne, thank you very much for the wisdom that you've instilled in me for so long, and for saying yes when I asked if I could marry your daughter. I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for being here. It takes a lot to get here. There's one of our favorite movies, there's a line in it that says, "It should be boring how reliable parents are." And that describes you, Mom and Dad. Thank you very much. You gave a lot when I was growing up to support me in whatever it is that I wanted to do, to travel all over God's green earth at all hours of the day, to watch me play whatever it is that I wanted to play, up to and including when I was here at Hendrix. So thank you very much. When I come to Hendrix and I walk the campus, it reminds me of when I met you, Joey. I very much value my time here at Hendrix for so many reasons, and the most important one is meeting you. So thank you for saying yes when I asked to marry you, and for every day since then. I very much appreciate it. And I didn't know Coach Holland was going to have you guys stand up, but I am too. So Will and Sam, will you stand, please? If it's all right with you guys, I'm just going to talk to them, and you're welcome to listen along. This is my son, Will, and this is my son, Sam. Boys, when I was a freshman at Hendrix, one of my favorite professors, who was a dean of the college at the time, his name was John Churchill. During orientation, he gave a really long speech, and he was a very smart guy, and I don't remember most of what he said, but I do remember this. He said, "You will be successful at Hendrix if you do two things: show up and do the work." And it's amazing how true such simple words are. So if you want to be successful at school, you show up and you do your homework. When you're working with your friends to build friendships, you show up and you support them and you do whatever it takes. When you're playing sports or when you're involved in extracurriculars, you go to practice and you do the work and you're there for your teammates. One of these days, you're going to meet a nice young lady. She's going to love you and you're going to love her. And it's going to be really hard to build and sustain a relationship. But if you show up and do the work, you're there. Okay? So whatever you do, you can be as great as you want to be if you'll show up and do the work. I love you, boys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for this tremendous honor very much.
Yeah. Okay. Our next honoree, you saying a few words? Yes. Our next honoree is a Meritorious Service Award for Laurie Smith, and Coach Weaver is going to say a few words. Oh, okay. My bad. Yes, that's right. Danny Powell has a video.
Good morning, everybody, and especially good morning to you, Laurie. And I'm sorry that I can't be there with you, but I did want to, and I do appreciate the opportunity to tell you, kind of in person, congratulations, and how I think that you're very deserving of being inducted into the Hall of Honor for meritorious service. You know, when I think back about our time when we worked together, you always did your job well. You kept the visa bill straight. You got everything. You kept the office organized. You got the heat and the air conditioning switched over in the old Grove, which was always pretty contentious, and lots of people had opinions on that. You handled all of that masterfully, and you had such an ability to work with such a diverse group of people as you had to all those years. But the reason you're going in the Hall of Honor or being inducted is because of the work that you did over and above. And there were so many things that you did over and above. The Hall of Honor in and of itself was such a reflection of you and how much you cared, and your ability to work with alums and your ability to make people feel special and your attention to detail. I've been involved in a lot of Hall of Fames, and ours is when you were running it, ours is the best. And I had a lot of people tell me that, and you generated such positive feelings out of it. You know, I think back to the Goodbye Grove stuff, and with all of that, you didn't have to take or go to all the lengths you did to make that such a special event for both students and for alums, but you did. And so that's why you're being honored, and I think it's so fitting that you are going into the Hall of Honor today, into really the thing that you created. There's the buzzer, and so my 2 minutes are up. And I know what a stickler you were about us staying on time during that event. So I'll just end with how much I appreciated you, how much I appreciated what you did for me professionally, how well you trained me, what a good friend you were and are, and the things that you helped me with personally through some tough times. And I'm really sorry I'm not there. Congratulations to you, JD, and all of the other recipients. And I hope that you have a great day on campus. Go Warriors.
So many years on the worker side, she's finally on the honoree side. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Tim, and thank you, Danny. Good morning, and I want to thank the Warrior Booster Club and its board for my nomination and selection for induction into the Sports Hall of Honor. When Coach Erling Hanna called to share the good news with me, I was rather surprised and very flattered. So I am very honored to be named an inductee and grateful for the recognition of my work in the Department of Intercollegiate Athletics for about 22 years and for my work with the Warrior Booster Club. Although I was not a coach or an athlete, I really still felt very much like a part of the team, and I worked behind the scenes to help my colleagues achieve excellence on and off the field. I always at least tried to go the extra mile in doing that. And also I knew that I had the opportunity to help our students, my student workers, and our student athletes learn more about the world around them, and I took that very seriously. I come from a family with very strong Hendrix ties sitting to my right. So I already had a connection with the college when I first arrived. But from my own time here, I have many fond memories of working with coaches Garrison and Kelly and Hannah and Holland and Henderson and Weaver and Danny Powell in Grove Gym, which actually sat on the footprint of this very building, and my office was right over there. And when I first arrived, I do remember I came for a week or two. I used to work in the State Attorney General's office. And so I arrived dressed professionally in, I think, a suit and heels. And I would wear a dress the next day and heels and look, I thought, very nice. And then one day my colleague and friend, Coach Jim Holland, came up to me and he said, "Laurie, you just really don't have to dress up like that here." And so I knew they were all probably looking at me and thinking, what are we going to do with her? But I was thinking and looking at them, saying to myself, what am I going to do with them? And so we eventually found our little happy place with each other. But my memories include working in Grove, lots of memorable events here, moving over to the new Wellness and Athletic Center with its wonderful facilities and fields, hosting conference and national competitions, winning and losing, cheering from the sidelines, celebrating the accomplishments of our student athletes and our coaches, laughing, working with the dance team and the cheerleaders, long hours, setting up and taking down, and making great, great friends. My colleagues were people of character who had a very strong desire to mold and guide their students to be the very best. When I first came to Hendrix, Coach Bob Courtway was just retiring, and Coach Cliff Garrison was at the helm of the athletic department. And from him, I learned much about having a good work ethic, being a role model, and the importance of truly caring about what you do and who you are doing it for. So much of why I am here today receiving this recognition is due to his leadership. So in addition to working with our students and coaches, one of my most rewarding responsibilities was serving as the liaison to the Warrior Booster Club and helping with its mission to recognize the accomplishments, commitment, and dedication of our former athletes and coaches. I learned that it was very important to remember that where we now stand is upon the shoulders of those who came before us. To research their lives while at Hendrix and after graduation, to help them reconnect with the college and to make sure that they knew that the college remembered and appreciated their contributions was always a very rewarding experience for me, and I hope it was for them as well. And so, thank you for including me in this honor and this recognition today, along with these other very deserving individuals and those who have come before me, and I deeply appreciate the honor. Thank you. Okay, sorry. I had to do that. I drugged my children, Margaret being one of them and Emily, to so many games and made them sell tickets and popcorn and all of that, and left Ted alone on Friday night, so I had to give them a moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you again, Laurie. Now we have our athletic director and head softball coach, Amy Weaver, to introduce Katherine Womack, class of 2007.
I have the same jacket on. I'm just talking as a softball coach right now. In 2001, the season of 2001, the softball team was 0-29. And I was hired in the fall of 2002, and knew I had a lot of work ahead of me. And that first recruiting class was really, really important. And like Coach Holland went to Texas to find a shortstop, I went to Texas to find an outfielder. I knew that it was more than finding someone just to be on the team. It was finding a player to help lay the foundation of what I wanted the athletic department or the softball team and the softball program to be. So I go to Texas. Her dad is a true Texan through and through. He was trying to get her to stay in Texas. When I was recruiting her and asking her questions, I said, Kat, how, are you okay with being 8 hours away? Is that okay for you? And she looks at me and she goes, Coach, I have this area. 8 hours is right on the fringe of that because I want to make sure that my dad can't do a drive-by. He bribed her. He tried to say he'd buy her a car if she stayed in Texas. And Kat Womack is a very, very determined young lady. And she decided to make Hendrix her home. That recruiting class went on. It doesn't have this in the program. But because of her hard work and the hard work of that particular class, they went on to win in her junior year 30 games in a season. And that was the first college in the state. We were the first college in the state of Arkansas to win 30 games in a year. And a lot of that had to do with that young lady right there. She's a fierce competitor. She has this big smile. And gets up the bat with this attitude, would talk smack in the outfield. And you wait till she comes up here. You'll get to see it. But she's a true competitor, and she's one of those kids that has the it factor, so that you knew no matter what she did, she was going to be successful. Her accolades are in the program. and she's a tremendous young lady, and I'm incredibly proud of her. And she came to talk to my players for a couple minutes yesterday, and I think they were like, "Oh, it's a good thing she graduated." We're not sure; she's a little wild for us. So without further ado, I'm incredibly proud to and happy that she's receiving this award. So, Katherine Womack.
This is a ball from my third year with all of our players' signatures on it. Love to present you with Coach. Oh, you already got me. Hello. I'm Kat Womack, and I am very honored and humbled to win this award. You don't play sports to win an award. But I will say, Miss Smith, walking down the Hall of Honor when I was in college was always so momentous for me, and I always hoped and dreamed I would get up here and get to have my picture on that wall. And while it's in a new building, it still feels the same magnitude, and I hope other future players will have that same motivation and honor. I didn't expect it to happen so early, and I'm so humbled that it did, that my stats allowed me to meet that criteria. And so that way that my parents could be here today, because without them, as Coach mentioned, despite her getting to persuade me to come all the way to Arkansas, they drove 8 hours at a minimum for every game. They tell stories of arriving at 2 a.m. in Conway and then getting back home at 10 p.m. or 2 a.m. and going to work the very next day because we had double headers all weekends. So I'd like to first and foremost honor my parents, Tommy Womack and Debbie Womack. I don't know if you want to stand up, but I've been playing softball since I was 8 years old, and I'm going to the batting cages 3-4 times a week because of my dad. And without my mom, I would not have the spirit that I have, or the hair bows and the jumping, as you can see there. It took a village to get me on that field. And I'd like to thank Coach Weaver. I mean, she's an amazing coach. Look at what she's done for the college. Can you even imagine what she did for us, group of players? She was there to support us. She washed our uniforms because she did not trust us to get the grass stains out, which none of us, we pretended we didn't know how to do laundry. We worked out. But she was also just an incredible mentor, and I am so honored and humbled today to receive this award. Thank you. Where are we looking?
Straight ahead.
One more, so my dad.
Oh.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. I'd like to bring Coach Weaver back up to say some closing words, but first, first let's have Coach Weaver, and then Reverend Whitney will close with a benediction. So.
First, I'd like to extend my congratulations to the 24th class of inductees into the Hendrix College Sports Hall of Fame. We are proud to honor you and your accomplishments. You will be joining 128 Warriors who have previously been recognized for their outstanding performances and contributions to Hendrix College athletics. It was exciting for me when I read the list of inductees, not only because of Kat Womack, but because I had recognized and got to see J.D. Pritchard play, and also got to see Erin play, and I missed Billy by 1 year. And I had the distinct pleasure to work with Laurie Smith. She's an amazing lady, and it's probably like herding cats most of the time with all the coaches. But as I was preparing for this today, her last year that she was with Hendrix, I became the interim athletic director, and it just dawned on me today that maybe I was the reason she retired. I don't know. But I do appreciate her and her help and guidance over my career. A plaque with your picture and brief description of your accomplishments will be displayed in the east entrance of the Wellness and Athletic Center. And those plaques are a reminder of our rich tradition and how each of you displayed on the wall has made an indelible mark on the Warrior athletic programs. Each of you also need to know, and as Kat pointed out, that you're not that the inductees are an inspiration and motivation to our current student athletes, and it reminds them that you too can accomplish great things and become part of Warrior history. The foundation of Hendrix athletics was built on principles, as Dr. Schewee said: discipline, integrity, pursuit of excellence, teamwork, competitiveness, leadership, determination, and the importance of family, and those are just to name a few. The members of the Sports Hall of Honor exemplify these qualities, and each of you has added your own layer of the foundation through your contributions that you've made to the Warriors. Although the venues for the inductees look probably completely different than the facilities that you may have participated in that we have today, the Warrior spirit that you helped create is alive and well in our 450 student athletes participating in 21, soon to be 22 NCAA sports. And that is more than any other college in the state of Arkansas. You have an opportunity, as Dr. Schewee said, to see some of our Warrior teams in action. Our volleyball team is currently playing. They're 12-0 and playing Berry College. Both teams are undefeated in the conference, so this is kind of a big pivotal game here. Our field hockey team is facing off at noon today against Center College, and of course our football team is playing at 1 o'clock at Crafton Faulkner Field, and our inductees are going to be will be honored at halftime of the football game. Please keep in mind that any championship we win or successes that we have, that we share with you and celebrate with you in mind. Again, we are proud to honor the inductees and your accomplishments today. We recognize and appreciate your commitment to Hendrix College athletics, and thank you for making it what it means to be a Warrior.
Thank you, Amy. And to close, we have the Alma Mater. We're actually going to be accompanied by the Hendrix College Choir, but maybe if you could all stand up, we could give this a little audience participation part.
Hendrix College, we will love thee through the years to come, as we love thee now today.
Join with me in a warrior's prayer. May the road rise up to greet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. And may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Go Warriors!